Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a preview for the 2020 Wyndham Championship. Sorry this is coming a little late, admittedly. I've been kind of working on a couple improvements. I'm going to change up the setup. So instead of having, a preview review, or preview lineup construction review, I'm going to have course fit, recent form, lineup construction, and then review. So really we're just kind of substituting that preview for a course fit and recent form video. That way, hopefully I can cut the videos down a little bit so they're a little quicker to get through. That way I can also provide a little bit more content throughout the week in shorter doses. The lineup construction video will probably still be long, but that's where you're coming to visit just for all the detail that you're not going to get on on this preview video or really anywhere else on the industry, to be quite frank. So that's what you guys can look forward to. I'm going to try to start that next week. Hopefully I'll have it for the first playoff event. And also, by the way, this is the last regular season event of the year for the PGA season. Then we get into the FedEx Cup playoffs. But anyways, yeah, going back to the whole video thing, I'm pretty excited because I think it's going to be a little easier on me. It'll probably be a little bit more helpful for you guys. I'm going to like it. It's going to be good. So anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get into the spreadsheet. And not so much a spreadsheet, but we'll start here. But before I get into this, I do want to remind you, you can watch us any faster speed. If you're on desktop, drag the mouse over the screen. You're going to find a gear icon somewhere down here. Drill down on that. You'll find playback speed. I prefer 1.5. But if you choose 2x speed, it'll cut the video in half. On mobile, top right hand corner, 3 dots make a vertical line. Drill down on that. You'll find playback speed there. I'll also have timestamps in the description. Okay, so on my preview videos, we start here, the tournament fact sheet that the GCSAA provides you. You can obviously Google that and find it. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'll find tournament fact sheets. We are at the Sedgefield Country Club, which has hosted this tournament for, I don't know, for forever. I know it goes way back past 2010. Webb Simpson won this in 2011. I know that. So I mean, I only looked back to 2008. I'm sure it goes back further than that, but I just want to let you guys know that this is a very old staple in the PGA season, meaning you can find course history, and I wouldn't say swear by it, but it's gonna be pretty beneficial, pretty helpful. So we are at a par 70, 7,100 yards, pretty standard, pretty average for a par 70 on the PGA Tour. This course is pretty easy. I mean, average green size is 6,000 square feet. It's pretty large. I'm not sure exactly what beats it, but just to put that into perspective, Pebble, I think, is at 3,500 square feet. So the greens are going to be big. Hitting the greens will be easy. Trying to avoid 3 putts will be difficult. Well, I shouldn't say it's going to be difficult, but I would say just on that alone, probably target golfers who have either really good proximity or just all around good putters. Like the strokes gained putting, obviously most winners are going to make a lot of putts outside of 8 feet, which is like 50%. So like you're going to be picking up strokes pretty easy when it comes to that. So I would say, oh man, I'm not even sure if strokes gained putting is going to be a good one to look at. Maybe 3-putt avoidance. Maybe a combination of that and one. No, I won't even do 1-putts. 1-putts are typically because of chips. Or just around the green stats. Yeah, I think maybe just 3-putt avoidance would be a really good putting stat to use. Either way, it's all relative, and it's difficult to look into that stuff because obviously strokes gained, people are snaking putts from distances where most pros aren't. Basically, that's where it comes down to. And you're going to be losing strokes gained putting if you miss the short ones. I'm not sure I care about missing short ones here. I I want aggressive golfers. Let's put it that way. And I'm not going to continue on with this. I think I talked way too much about it, but I think you can either do a mix of proximity and birdie or better, or 3-putt avoidance and green and reg, something like that, something around that effect. So anyways, moving on. 52 sand bunkers, it's not the most we've ever seen. I don't think it's really going to matter. I don't see how a lot of the bunkers really play in on this hole or on this course. 5 water hazards with 6 holes having those hazards in play. When I did kind of a quick course preview or kind of flyover of it, I didn't see a lot of water that were like guarding the greens. So I don't think the water really matters all that much. But really the most important thing when I look at this tournament fact sheet, other than really looking at green size, par, yardage, would be the grass. So it's Bermuda grass through and through. I think it's champion Bermuda to be exact. So we'll be looking at Bermuda grass quite a bit. The additional notes, I don't really see anything on here that's really relevant. A new tee box was added on number 14 that added 25 yards to it since the last tournament. I don't know, not that big of a deal. I couldn't really find a good flyover, so I'm gonna go through this pretty quick. You're gonna get an idea of what the course is gonna look like. I apologize for kind of the terrible graphics that come with this. I'm on the Blue Golf website, which is a good way to find course information and stuff like that. But you can also see like yardage on the yardage book, bunkers, where they're located. So this one here, 274 yards from, I'm assuming the back tees, which would be the gold tees, but you never know. Yeah, gold tees. I'm guessing, yeah, I don't think the PGA Tour is really going to be moving back, or they will be using a lot of the different tee boxes, but 420 is going to be the max distance is what I'm trying to get at. So it's a pretty straightforward hole. We can't see the fairways, but like I don't think the fairways are going to be that narrow. I don't think this driving hole on hole 1 is that difficult. So it's, if anything, it would favor a draw off the tee, but the green is not guarded. I believe the green is crowned, so really missing left, right, long, short, whatever is going to roll off the green. But yeah, it doesn't matter what type of shot shape you have coming into hole 1. Hole 2, we can see it's a 285 carry to the corner. I'm sure we're going to see some golfers go over it, but we also have a creek, and that would be where one of the water hazards come into play. But I'm assuming most people are going to 3-wood to the corner here. 160 yards isn't that difficult to get into the green nowadays. And really, I think a preferred shot shape would be a draw to hit it away from the water, but then that doesn't give you access to any right hole pin location, or any pin locations on the right side of the green. I would just chalk this up to saying it doesn't matter really which type of shot shape you hit. Same would apply for this hole. 176 yards. It's not like they're going to really stop on the greens, hitting a cut right here. It's just like, the margin for error is so low when you're trying to shape shots into these like corner locations. But for the most part, we're going to see pins all over. I don't think shot shape matters. And instead of continuously saying that, I'm just going to point out when a shot shape is going to matter. So here, no, not so much. Hole 5, here you go, par 5. Again, doesn't look like any shot shape. I apologize for the graphics once again. It looks terrible. Like, why do I need these shadows covering the fairway? Fairway like is right here for you guys that can't see it. Anyways, not really a shot shape that really matters. Same would apply with this one. I'm assuming most golfers are going to try to hit it over the creek. It's 279 to the front of it here, 293 to here. So yeah, I would imagine, I wouldn't say most golfers, but the deep hitters can hit it over this no problem. And I would say if you're going to be a deep hitter, you'd want to hit a fade. Otherwise, laying up is not a terrible and a green that isn't guarded by anything. Long par 3, we have a creek in the middle, so there's another hole where water comes into play. No shot shape is required there. I would say the same thing here. No shot shape is required. I just don't see, trying to get to these pins is not going to be difficult, and whatever shot shape you hit into the green isn't going to matter. Kind of skip by hole 9. As you can see, shot shape isn't going to matter. Same with 10, same with 11, same with 12. I mean, if you guys are looking at this, obviously you can see the green. When they're that big, that rounded, that, there's no like peanut shaped or any L-shaped greens like we kind of saw at TPC Harding Park, I don't think it really matters. And a lot of these holes are short enough where just getting it into the fairway, and really there's no obstacles in the fairway, no trees to hit around. There just isn't much really need for a shot shape. I would just say bombers probably have a little bit of an advantage. These bunkers here are in prime landing positions for golfers who probably average around 280 to 295 with their tee shots. I would assume most golfers can hit it actually, they can carry it that far and it just doesn't roll out that much. But when you start hitting it shorter, your carry is also going to be shorter. So I'm assuming anyone under 290 will find bunkers around that 280 mark, just like the creek that we saw in the previous or few holes before. That's where distance is going to matter. But again, the green there didn't matter. This is an interesting hole because here's one hole I would actually say a shot shape does matter. Hitting a fade into the green is going to be very beneficial. You don't have to hit a fade into the green. You can very much lay up anywhere short of this, and it's not going to matter. Carrying this creek, not a huge deal. I'm sure it would be in the yardage book to show us, but 315 to get to this point, maybe that's a little long for some of these PGA pros, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't see. I mean, if we had a bunker over on the left side, I'd say we would definitely want to favor fade, golfers into this. But even if you overcook a draw, you're not dead on the left side. So really any shot shape is going to be okay, but anything tucked on the right side, you're obviously going to want a fade for those going for eagle on that hole. Hole 16, look at that. The green is just so simple. No shot shape required there. Hole 17, really no shot shape required there. Hole 18, we got another par 5, and it's pretty much straight away. Bunkers on left and right, so you have a little bit of a landing area here, but for the most part, it's not going to matter what shot shape you hit into this. You're going to have to hit a pretty good shot to get onto the green. Actually, you know what? I'll take a little bit of that back. I bet this plays as a par 4. Yeah, this is going to play as a par 4. This is not a par 5. This is just a par 5 for you and me, the public play. But it being 500 yards, this is not. And it's a par 70. This would have been the third par 5. So this is going to be converted to a par 4. Yeah, it's going to be a long approach shot into the green, but in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be around like 200 yards for some of these golfers. It's going to be less for others, but yeah, that would be the conclusion of my course preview. It doesn't really favor a shot shape over another. I don't mean to go to the DK page right away. Let's go ahead, talk about the course history. Let me zoom in. I have this sorted and filtered by golfers playing and their best or their average finishing position. So as you can see, Charles Schwartzel is at the top. I don't want you to really focus on golfers that have only one event played, but you certainly can. This is for you guys. You guys can make your own decision on whether or not you like this information or not. I do know I forgot one golfer. Let me go find him. You can see my whole database here of my spreadsheets. That way I'm not just faking this. Mr. Josh Teeter is playing. Who else? Peter Uline is also playing. I forgot to add those golfers because they were late ads. I know my alphabet, don't you worry. Okay. There were a couple other ads, but I'm not going to add them here only because they just had not played here before. Let me double check on that. I don't want to give you false information. So Peter Uline, Ben Martin, Josh Teeter. Okay, let me go add Ben Martin. Or as some people around the industry call him, Bermuda Benny, because he is pretty decent, or he has been decent on Bermuda. He has not played in forever, so I wouldn't even consider it. Okay, there. We have it updated. I think we're gonna see Josh Teeter at the top. A little, maybe? No? Okay. I know Teeter had a 6th place finish last year. But obviously that can be... There he is. Changed by the fact that he had a couple miscuts. Okay. Didn't mean to waste that much time, but by far and away, the best golfer in this field with course history is this man right here, Mr. Webb Simpson. We take away his 72, 4.83. It's insane. It's ridiculous. He is one of the best golfers on tour right now. He didn't have a strong show. No. I think with most people kind of thought Webb Simpson didn't belong at, well, not so much belong, but the course didn't fit Webb Simpson at TPC Harding Park. I couldn't have disagreed more. He played pretty well. He actually, what was his finish? Okay, so he finished 37th. I can't say I watched enough of him, but I did see him up on the leaderboard. I think it was top 20 at one point in time. But if it was a course that didn't fit him, which I don't believe that's true, but if it was a course that didn't fit him, he played pretty decent. If it was a course that fit him, I'm not sure if he just got a bad tee time draw or what happened last week. But the fact that he's coming to some place that he's very comfortable playing, has a very good course history. Webb Simpson, by far and away, golfer with the best course history, probably the best golfer coming into this field. You have a couple guys after him. Like if we take away Sabatini, his worst finishing position, 6, ends up being his average finishing position, which he got last year. That's pretty remarkable. For someone like Sabatini. I don't even remember what his price is, but he's not a bad play. We do see Patrick Reed up there. He did win this in 2013, but it's just a bunch of 20th place finishes. I think I'm actually I'm a little bit more encouraged by his showing at TPC Harding Park. I think he's not a bad play. I actually didn't think he was going to be a good play at the PGA Championship, but he made the cut. Let me double check that. Made the cut and got 13th, so a top 20 finish. So I do like Patrick Reed, and I think this course would be decent for him, especially when, he's a good putter. Like I do like Patrick Reed. As we go down the list here, I think one golfer just to talk about briefly is Brandt Snedeker. I don't think he's anywhere close to the recent form that we would want him at. He did actually pop at the PGA Championship last week, so that might be an encouraging sign to play him this week. I'm not gonna play a lot of him. I'll definitely have FOMO with him, and I'll play him in some lineups, but for the most part, I can't get around to Brandt Snedeker. Paul Casey, another golfer. If we take away his 85, his miscut in 2013, very good course history. Is it good enough to play him at his price tag? Probably not. But he did have, obviously, a 2nd place finish at the PGA Championship last week. He might be worth a decent play of consideration. So that's course history. Let's go ahead and just jump into recent form really quickly. I'm going to go through this really fast. What I want to point out are golfers are in the season where the Wyndham Championship plays after another tournament. In this column, it would be the St. Jude and the Barracuda. So 2019, it was St. Jude Barracuda. 2018, 2017. So just keep your eye right here. So 2018, 2017, 2015, 2014, and 2013, the PGA Championship preceded this tournament each of those years. 2016, it did not. 2016, the John Deere Classic preceded this tournament. So we actually have a lot of good years to look at, with the PGA Championship being the one that preceded this tournament. So 2019, we had St. Jude. You could make the argument that enough good players were at the St. Jude. So if any of those good players, obviously you got to be top 50 plus, some of the invites that come afterwards. Meaning you have to be a good golfer to play in the WGC events, which this was last year. So you can make the argument, well, if they played in that and they're coming to this tournament, we could look at their results and determine, do we want to play them? So Webb Simpson had a second place at the St. Jude Classic, or I'm sorry, WGC St. Jude Invitational. At 11,200, you did want him on your team. He was a part of the optimal lineup, but not the $1 winning lineup for last year. Let me just go ahead and zoom this in. So you can see winning lineup, everything that's highlighted in blue. Billy Horschel was another one at 9,600, pretty decent. Paul Casey at 98 with a 27th place finish, not very good. You wouldn't want to play him. Matthew Wolff, 24th place finish the week before. He was a part of the $1 winning lineup, but I wouldn't have wanted to play him. But yeah, I'm not going to go through every other one, but I mean, I suppose I can point out some of these guys. So 85 and below are missed cuts. Matsuyama, missed cut, didn't play very well at St. Jude. Cam Smith, 12th place finish. No one else really. No one else to really talk about. So let's go ahead and talk about 2018, go into the PGA Championships being the ones that preceded this. You can see there's a bunch of golfers that had golfed the PGA Championship, and not to discourage you of players that you may like, but having a good finishing position didn't matter really at the PGA Championship. Sure, we had one top 20 that was in there. We'll see if that trend continues as we go forward. But again, that was Webb Simpson. So obviously that could be a course history play, instead of looking at the PGA Championship. But for the other golfers that you see on here, I would say don't worry. But this being a recent form tab or page, you should pay attention to the recent form. 34, 73 is the worst, but everything else is between 50, 56, and 30, essentially. So it looks like decent recent form you'd want, but then of course 2017 has to change that and blow it out of the water. Henrik Stenson with the top 20 at the PGA Championship, finishing inside winning it obviously, but finishing inside the top 5. But there's Webb again. He was 33rd, so that kind of plays into this week. He did finish in the 30th ranked spot. So that'll be interesting. But okay, now we have another PGA Championship, which obviously top 20. I'm gonna look at this one, 2016 John Deere Classic, just for the recent form. Again, or I should say again, but this actually follows 2017 pretty decently. 2019 had better recent form coming into this tournament. But yeah, 2018, 2017, obviously we saw a couple more bad recent form golfers, but 2016 follows that trend. So does 2015. The winner, Davis Love III, that's more of a course history guy as well. I only have course history going back to 2013. Davis Love had played this tournament forever. I think he had like 2 previous wins here at this golf course. I'm not sure if it was the Wyndham Championship back then, but like this was a course that he played well at. So him having that finish, not that big of a deal. Brooks Koepka, 5th place finish at the PGA Championship, finished inside the top 10. Top 6 we can call it actually, because we do want to look at those top 5s. Martin Keimer also showed up. So I guess let's, we only see one. Okay, we see another one here now. So somewhere between 1 to 2 golfers who finished inside the top 20 at the PGA, we might want to highlight for this year. 2014, we see another one with Brandt Snedeker. So it's a course history plus a recent form guy. And we can say that for a lot of these guys. Maybe not so much Brooks. But obviously seeing that with Brooks, because I do believe, although he had a bad Sunday at the PGA Championship, he still finished inside the top 20. So he still is live to finish decent at this tournament. Okay, so 2014, how about 2013? Another top 10. So it seems as if having a top 20 finish at the PGA is going to be good for some of the high price guys. And when we look at this, we can obviously see Patrick Reed pops up. Oh, Brooks actually finished 29th. Okay. I believe, what was it? We saw Simpson with the 30th place finish. Yeah. Finish inside being 10K and above. So really, I guess all of these guys are live. We could pair any of these guys together. I think a lot of people might be thinking about Paul Casey right away. But like I said, Patrick Reed for me kind of pops out. He would be a course history slash, good recent form golfer. And then Simpson, that does not dissuade me from playing him at all. 28 was his recent form coming in. 23, 33, 35. I mean, it's pretty similar to his 2017 campaign. But I just like Webb Simpson, period. I might just fade Brooks completely. We'll see. But I mean, any of these guys that are, top 20 finishes, actually, you know what? Since it's really hard to say this, because when we looked at all the top 5 finishes or top 20 finishes at the PGA, they were all kind of known golfers, 10K and above. I can't believe Rafa was 10K at one point in time. Brooks would have been over, he would have been over 9K, but Martin Keimer probably would have been over 10 at that time. And same with Snedeker during this, we want golfers over 20 or over 10K with a good PGA Championship. So I would say pretty much Patrick Reed is in play. I would actually put these two golfers also in play, and really those would be the only ones. Now, I'm not going to discredit Kevin Kisner. I'll definitely be playing him, but he's not going to get that I have to play him bump. He's a good one to actually fit to, kind of glue your lineups together, but I don't know if I want to really call it glue, like that's all that he's good for. But yeah, that would be it for recent form. Hopefully you guys were paying attention to some of these. I mean, looking at prices to go along with recent form is a big one. It's not to say that having good, or let's just put it this way, if you had terrible recent form coming in here, it's not going to be a huge deterrent, and I don't think you guys should really worry too much about that. Okay, so that was recent form. We don't have to talk about course history recent form going forward. But let's go ahead and now get into the grass stats and swing stats of things. I don't have tee times up yet. Obviously, they came out, so you could do your tee time pairings, but I usually leave that to the lineup construction page. I'm not going to talk about official world golf ranking, but you can obviously see that here with the top guys. Actually, let me keep that available. I'm going to hide these two columns. That way we can get to our Bermuda stats pretty much. You know what? I say all of this, but I do want to actually review the 2019 DK page. So before we get into the 2020 DK page, I want to come here, look at this, and try to determine something. This is really interesting now that I see this. Look at all of the AM golfers. I didn't even, when I first looked at this didn't even pop up, but now that I'm here talking about it, almost everyone everyone in the top 10 had a morning tee time except for Sungjae. Was weather a huge deal last year? I don't recall, but that's amazing. I think it's probably worth looking into, honestly. See if there was any weather that really played a huge factor in Thursday's round last year. It had to have, right? Do I have anything in my notes for this? Nope. Okay. So anyways, 2019 DK page. JT Poston obviously won it last year. Webb was in second. And then obviously you can see the rest of them. Victor Hovland, you know, an up and coming rising golfer at that time. Siwoo with a pretty decent course history. There's Rory Sabatini. Obviously, if you guys are with me, you know what the last year or the LWB means. But just as you can see, color coordination doesn't really matter which number you see here. You're going to see a lot of guys in the top 10. But anyways, well, first thing I want you guys to look at is top 20 stats that are within the top 10. I'm going to expand this. This is just a count that I did of all the stats that we looked from left to right. So this is just obviously your top 20 stats. And when we look at the top 10 golfers, because that's pretty much what I'm trying to target when I'm creating my lineups is your top 10. I would say tee to green. So never mind, that's 5. Really, we don't see a lot of correlation with stats when we look at the top. Brian Harman didn't have enough. Brian Harman just didn't have good enough stats. That's what that ends up being. Interesting. Okay. I'm just trying to find the golfers that don't have stats. Obviously, JT Poston, that was also a golfer who did not have good stats. So you can see most of it's red, yellow, and orange. Not good. So we had 2 golfers who weren't top 20 in any stat. Webb Simpson being the golfer, you know, the top price golfer. He had 8 top 20 stats. Benny Ann had 5, and you can see which ones, obviously, what they were. 2019 Bermuda, kind of a decent stat to look at. Same with tee to green. They're kind of both tied with each other. Recent form, kind of. I mean, that's top 20 recent form, so obviously that's in the field. So really what I'm seeing right now is around the green. We had a lot of top 20 golfers around the green. It was around the green, tee to green, and 2019 Bermuda. Those are your top stats. They all have 5 in their categories for these guys here at the top 10. I don't know how much that's really going to play into account for this year, but you know, I guess if we had weather last year, that probably played a huge factor into it. So that was pretty much all of your stats looking at the 2019. Typically what I would do is kind of like do a top down, looking at all of the you know, all of the stats when we go here, like looking at our top 20 Bermuda stats. I guess we can hide them. So we can kind of do like a look at this to see what their finishing place is. I'll just go through this really quick. I'm not going to actually talk about it, but you guys can see it. Over on the left side are your results. Green is obviously top 20, or that's good. This dark red 85 is a missed cut. So as you see, 2019, a lot of golfers here up at the top, finished inside the top 10. Tee to green. Let me just go ahead and remove the blanks. Not a bad stat to look at. Off the tee. Approach. Around the green. DNS was just, they were originally in the DraftKings roster, but then ended up withdrawing before the start of the tournament. So that just means did not start. Putting, let's just get rid of. Putting doesn't look like it really mattered. How about green and reg? No, not really. Proximity? Not at all. 40 or better. And not really. So really what we saw was, sure, around the green, we saw a few. We saw just as many approach. Off the tee, same thing. But really, tee to green. which is obviously a good stat to look at anyways, but tee to green pretty much reigns supreme for 2019. Just finding golfers inside the top 20 and top 10. So let me go ahead, filter this back or sort it back on winners. Yeah, that was your 2019 DK review. Let's go ahead into the 2020. At 35 minutes, let's just, well, first of all, let's look at the top here. You're going to see all the golfers with top 20 stats. Webb Simpson pretty much left. He has the same amount, I should say, he is the leader with top 20 stats like he was last year. I believe he was. Let me double check that. Matsuyama with 10. And then 2 golfers with 8. So here's your top 20 leaderboard, I should say. So your leaderboard of top 20 stats. Matsuyama missed the cut, and then you got a bunch of top 20 finishes. So I guess if we do that here, we could probably find a pretty good sample, right? So then what? Right away we go no to Webb Simpson, and we either pick Patrick Reed or Harris English. Possible. I'm already seeing I don't like the last year bucket, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. Let's see. These guys had top 20s, so Joaquin Neiman had your 30, 45 for Corey. All right, so anyways, I like to try to find those correlations just to see if it even matters. So what are we looking at here? Oh, we were looking at last year finishing position. So yeah, one of them. I would pick one or the other. I think if you are trying to create a player pool, I think that's a good way to start, is picking one over the other. And maybe playing one lineup just as a FOMO lineup. But yeah, I think one or the other would be fine. And maybe you would prefer Harris English instead. I'm just seeing the last week correlating with this. Really interesting. So having a missed cut is actually more important than having a 30 to or a 20 to 40 position. Anyways, we saw a lot of, or so we obviously that one guy at the top, you know, X him out or whatever. And then if we're following 2019, then it was like these guys here, you know, 6 golfers pretty much finish inside. Well, 8 golfers finish inside the top 20. Almost every golfer that had 5 top 20 stats made the cut and finished better than 40th place. So everything 5 and above, probably good. Maybe Jim Furyk gets cast out, and we go with everyone else that's within this range. Hey, I think that's a decent way to play it, honestly. If we can make a lineup with these guys, can we? Well, there's a bunch of 80 or 8K guys. So, I mean, Jim Furyk would have to be in there. This makes 49,800. I might make a lineup like that, honestly. Sure, why not? 49,800. There you go. Your winning lineup. Put it in the Millie Maker if there is one. That was kind of funny, honestly, because that included Harris English and then everyone else that had top. Okay, I like it. I do. I like it a lot. Let's see. All right, so that was top 20. Let's just cruise through this. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. We already talked about course history, but here you go. Here are your top 20 golfers. I would recommend pausing this and then taking a screenshot if you want more of this information. But here we go with recent form. Sorry, this says bent. This should say Bermuda. Naughty Kool-Aid. Here's your overall Bermuda. Christian Bezuidenhout at the top. I think that's a decent play. Playing Mr. Bezuidenhout. Can't believe people don't know how to say that name. It's weird. Not difficult. I mean, you just gotta hear someone say it once correctly, right? And then you just remembered it. Bezuidenhout. Or I think I heard Mark Immelman call him Bezuidenhout. But either way, it's not Bezuidenhout, not Bezuidenhout, and whatever. Anyways, Webb Simpson. So the top, you know, the year of the Bermuda stats I'm looking at played a huge factor. We saw 6 of them inside the top 13. So really, we could find 6, and in all reality, we can look at the golfers that we kind of already did, right? With the top 20 stats. So we could go with Harris English, Sergio, Sungjae. I want to go with Brooks. There's Bezuidenhout. He has 4. It is what it is. I mean, not everyone. It's not going to be perfect for everyone. But anyways. Maybe these guys down here. Todd, Sabatini, Munoz. Sure. Anyways, let's hide all of this and talk about our stats. And I know I hide these columns all the time, but this is just for in the future when we're looking at these stats. I kind of want to put, you know, how, like, the volume, you know, that's incorporated into that number, if it matters or not. So I don't have it for 2019. Otherwise, we could even do a further dive into all that information. But for the most part, I'm not going to get into it. But anyways, your top guys, T to green. This was a stat, obviously, we were looking at. So here's your top 20 golfers. You know, obviously, Harris English pops up for me. We see Sergio, Paul Casey. I mean, we could talk about Munoz. Ryan Moore was up there as well in that mix. Same with Sungjae. So I have 6 golfers right there. Can that actually create a lineup? Probably not. 51,600. So a little bit over. Who would we drop? Probably Sungjae, right? People want to play Sungjae. So we have what? $7,200 remaining. But put in Luke List. Probably not going to though. Bud Cauley had a good showing last week, so maybe Bud. But either way, that was T to green. I'm not going to really talk too much more about it. Obviously, you know, when we looked at the 2019 T to green, so when we look at top 20, scroll more down. If we look at the price tags for a lot of these golfers, we have 98, 82, 11-2, 8, 91, 83, and 92. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 golfers. If I got rid of the most expensive golfer, we're still looking at 52,600. So we can't just pick all of the T to green golfers and put them in a lineup. And that's obviously what we have to think about when we're creating these lineups. It just helps you kind of figure out maybe a core that you want. But here we go with off the tee. Go ahead and take a look. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. If you see a lot of like overlapping guys and you're kind of finding a trend that you like, by all means, write that golfer down. Put them in your core. It's probably going to be somewhat important. Around the green, obviously Patrick Reed being at the top here is kind of a good tell, I guess, that maybe we should be picking Patrick Reed in our cores. Obviously I like seeing Sergio, so I'm probably gonna play a lot of Sergio in all honesty. But also, if you guys want, just go back to the 2019 DK page when I was talking about that and look at the around the green stats just to see who was up there and what their price tag was. Strokes gained putting, not going to talk about it. Green reg wasn't a stat that mattered, not going to talk about it. Proximity, again, it was not a stat that really mattered, but if you wanted, here are some golfers. I did put this little tick mark for Josh Teeter because he was just added to the field, which is interesting. He had a top 6 finish last year. I would assume top 10s just automatically get invited back, but that must not be the case. Birdie or better, your top guys, Webb Simpson. We also see Patrick Reed up there. Sungjae. I do like Maverick McNeely just by name basis alone. I don't think he really fits the mold for Bermuda, but I can open this back up and we can take a look at 56 overall Bermuda. That's not that good, and 2019 is 51.5. But anyways, like Sung Jae is up there. He was part of, you know, the list that we were talking about. Obviously not the greatest of recent form, like really bad recent form. But a missed cut last year was not a big deal at this tournament. So definitely something to consider or to think about. But I think Patrick Reed, Webb Simpson, I mean, this is birdie or better. It didn't really matter that much in 2019. I don't think it's going to matter. But obviously, we could find some golfers that we like and kind of put them in our cores. So yeah, I'm actually gonna leave it at that. I don't really have anything else. I don't have anything else to talk about, and I can leave this video at 45 minutes long. Like, that's pretty good. It'll be 46 by the time I say my goodbyes, but we'll leave it at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and again, next week I'm gonna change things up. We'll have a course fit video probably on a Sunday, maybe a Saturday, just depending on when I can put everything together. And then recent form Monday, and hopefully lineup construction on Tuesdays. And that's hopefully the schedule going forward. So yeah, maybe we'll go like Saturday course fit, Sunday review, Monday recent form, and Tuesdays lineup construction. We'll try doing something like that going forward. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Definitely appreciate it, especially with this video coming out as late as it is. But with that, hopefully you guys do well this week, and let me know. Tweet me, comment here. I want to hear your takes. I want to hear your successes or your failures. You can also yell at me too. Anyways, good luck, and see you in the next video.